when you're on the way up, right? You don't really think about what will happen if it doesn't work out. A lot of these artists come up, and when they're doing good, they're spending it faster than they're making it. And they're not saying that he's going broke or anything, but he was top. He was on top for a while. And all of a sudden, the industry just pulled that rug out. So we're going to find out why today, why that rug was pulled out, and why you should have empathy for other people. And you should, this is a perfect example of paying for, saying the wrong things can, how they say things have consequences. And it's like in Training Day, where, damn, his name slips my, well, Denzel, what was his? I can't remember like his character's name in there, but he did something with the ops, the Russians, and there were consequences. And as big as he still had to face the consequence, right? But this is about the baby, and we're gonna check it out and see what this video is saying. This video was put together by Blackie Sparky, or Sparks, Blackie Sparks.
In 2021, DaBaby was one of the bigger new names in hip hop. Chart-topping hits, sold-out shows, and massive collaborations were all part of his track record. But in a span of just a few days, he went from dominating the music scene to facing severe backlash, losing major brand deals, and being pulled from festival lineups. How exactly did one of the faster rising rappers in hip hop take such a sudden dive? This is the story of DaBaby's fall off after his controversial comments at Rolling Loud. DaBaby born Jonathan Lindell Kirk started gaining significant traction in 2019 when his debut studio album Baby on Baby shot him into the spotlight. The album's breakout single, Shug, was an instant hit, peaking at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. He took the industry by storm and built a lot of momentum as a result of this. DaBaby released his second album, Kirk, just months later, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. This release solidified his place in rap, with hits like Bop and Vibes becoming fan favorites. DaBaby was always quite the character, someone who exuded a lot of personality and had a very bold persona.
My daughter bring home like me, I'm beating him up. I'm for real. How you doing, sir? Wow.
That was part of his appeal. Hip-hop is, after all, a genre that thrives off of braggadocious personalities, and DaBaby...
I did check out some of his skits and things like that. It's pretty funny. He's a pretty he's a big character guy. He's pretty funny.
was just that. By 2020, DaBaby was on top. He dropped Blame It on Baby, his third studio album, which included Rockstar, a collaboration with Roddy Ricch. Rockstar went on to become one of the biggest hits of 2020, topping the Billboard Hot 100 for 7 weeks and achieving multi-platinum status globally. DaBaby was performing at award shows, headlining festivals, and collaborating with major artists. He seemed unstoppable. At this point, DaBaby had collaborations with some of the biggest names in the industry, including Megan Thee Stallion, Post Malone, and Lil Baby. He was a staple at the award shows, and his live performances were highly rated. But just as DaBaby's career reached its peak, it would all start to crumble. By mid-2021, a DaBaby who seemed unstoppable would set off a chain of events that led to his reputation plummeting. The defining moment in DaBaby's fall came on July 25th, 2021, during his performance at the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami. In the middle of his set, DaBaby made a series of controversial and offensive remarks that targeted the LGBTQ community.
You didn't show up today with HIV, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone like that up.
If you didn't show up with HIV, sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up, DaBaby told the attendees. Ladies, if your private parts smell like water, put your cell phone lighter up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking DICK in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up. The comments quickly went viral, sparking outrage across social media platforms.
Wow. I did remember him getting into some mess at something he had said. I didn't know that's what it was, but that's pretty violent. Light it up. What reference is that? Light it up. What does that mean? And he wasn't just the gay people, he went after women. But what was his purpose of that? Was he like, well, usually you have an agenda. What's his agenda? And why would you say that at a place where these people are supporting you? Right?
media platforms. Social media exploded with criticism, and what seemed to be the entire world quickly began calling out DaBaby for his comments. It wasn't entirely his own fans, though, as the majority
That was really egregious. That was the way he, like, it was uncalled for too. It was just some random things. You know, when a lot of some of these artists get so big that they feel they can say whatever they feel and they feel like they could disrespect anyone they feel like disrespecting. And it's just another day walk in the park, but everything got consequences. And eventually you will pay. You will pay.
The majority of the criticism and noise came from the LGBT community. After facing initial backlash for his comments on Rolling Loud, DaBaby posted a series of videos and statements on social media where he appeared to double down on his remarks.
What me and my fans do at the live show, it don't concern you niggas on the internet or you bitter bitches on the internet. It's not y'all business. You know what I'm saying? Like what I do at a live show is for the audience at the live show. It'll never translate correctly to somebody looking at a little 5-6 second clip.
On top of this video,
Look at that big ass rapper, and he still can't change the battery in his smoke detector. Now, let me vent for a little bit about what he just said about the loyal fan base. And it kind of resonate with the same thing that just happened with Drake and how he lost his beef with Kendrick. Kind of the same thing. When you grow a fan base, that fan base will help you push your records. But in order for your records and your album to become universal, you need people to just like your stuff. But in order for that to happen, you have to show up and still be humble the way you were when you started. Not because all of a sudden you see these big shows and all of a sudden you change and become a different person. And once you switch it up, the fans, the people know, and then you come out and humiliate them for no reason, your loyal fans even going to turn on you because it's uncalled for. It now, if somebody came out at you and then you retaliated, then that's a different story. But we all should be sharing love. When we came out the pandemic, this was what, right after the pandemic, we all needed hugs. We was all trapped up in the house. I wasn't trapped in the house. I worked through the pandemic, but that's another story. Let's get back to Baby. Let's get back to DaBaby.
video where he was standing firm on his words. He also put up the following tweet on Twitter, specifically mentioning the pushback from the LGBT community, refusing to apologize to them. Anybody who done ever been affected by AIDS, HIV, y'all got the right to be upset, DaBaby said. What I said was insensitive, even though I have no intentions on offending anybody, DaBaby said. So my apologies. But the LGBT community, I ain't tripping on y'all. Do you? Y'all business is y'all business.
Like at what point do you know, it quite obviously he wasn't reading the room, because this stuff is just uncalled for. We don't need this type of thing in our society. We really don't. This is not what we need. I know he's supposed to be a rapper, but dude, these people who are supporting you at your show, you can say what you want. When you become an entrepreneur or you become somebody involved, you don't choose your fan base. You perform, you do your thing, you get off stage. Like, what was the reason for saying what you said on stage? And then you double, triple, and quadruple down on it. For what? Because you think you're bigger than everyone else? Is that the reason? You lost a little humanity? Is that what it is?
He ended it with advocacy groups, particularly those supporting LGBTQ plus rights and HIV awareness, condemned the statements, urging DaBaby to.
Okay, sorry about that. Wasn't sure if I had stopped it or not.
Educate himself on the issues he had spoken about. Hashtags calling for his cancellation began trending on Twitter, and the controversy spread far beyond the hip-hop world, reaching mainstream media outlets. Aside from fans and people in general, some of his fellow artists also expressed disappointment and anger over his comments, which were widely condemned as insensitive and harmful. Major media outlets picked up the story, and the backlash grew rapidly. What was initially just a moment on stage soon became a full-blown public relations disaster for for DaBaby. English Albanian singer and songwriter Dua Lipa, who had recently collaborated with him on a remix of her hit song, Levitating, publicly distanced herself from him. She expressed her disappointment and support for the communities that were hurt by his comments. Elton John, a longtime advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness, also weighed in, criticizing the rapper's remarks by promoting education on the subject. What started as an isolated moment during a festival performance quickly snowballed into a major crisis for DaBaby, one that would have immediate and long-lasting consequences for his career. Now, the backlash wasn't confined to just social media. As the controversy grew and the backlash intensified,
It will, because it was totally uncalled for, it was unprovoked, and just insensitive. Just like they said, it's whatever you got coming, bro, is what you deserve, because you're the one that asked for that smoke. You asked for it, kid, so you got it.
intensified, the real-life repercussions to DaBaby's comments were severe. His money was now getting affected by the words he said on that stage. The music industry began to take action. Literally within days of his Rolling Loud performance, DaBaby started getting dropped from major music festivals. Lollapalooza, one of the largest music festivals in the US, was among the first to remove him from their lineup, citing the controversy as the reason. This was soon followed by cancellations from other festivals, including Governor's Ball, Day in Vegas, and Austin City Limits. For an artist who had been a staple in headlining these types of events just months prior, this wave of cancellation was unprecedented.
Now let me ask y'all a question. I want a serious question. How many of y'all feel that this was over exaggerated? Because there'll be a lot of people on the other side who will say, oh, they're just bringing another black man down, they're just doing this, whatever. But this is totally unwanted. He dug his own grave, and you might as well just get in it and sleep, brother, because this is how what not to do. This is the perfect you watching what not to do, because listen, he was on top of the world. He was the shiznit for a minute. And just like you saw that he fell off just like that before you knew it. Thought he was bigger than who was making him. But listen, they pull that plug right, that mat right from under his legs. And you know what? Does he deserve it? Let me know down in the comments. How y'all feel about DaBaby?
Hip-hop had never seen anything like this until this incident happened. DaBaby's public persona undoubtedly took a serious hit, and the financial repercussions were severe. Yes, he was a rich rapper with millions at this point, but it's undeniable to say that it hit him pretty hard despite the blessed position he was in. The festivals who canceled his performances cited his comments as a reason for dropping him, which created even more festivals to follow suit, and the growing pressure from the public, fans, artists, and activists were calling for accountability. At the same time, DaBaby's commercial partnerships began to fall apart. Clothing brands and sponsorships cut ties with him, fearing the negative associations from the controversy. UK fashion brand Boohoo Man, that had partnered with DaBaby on a clothing line earlier in 2021, was one of the companies that severed ties, fearing the backlash would negatively affect the reputation of their brand. In a public statement, the company condemned his comments and confirmed they would no longer work with him, stating, "We do not tolerate hate speech or discrimination in any form." Burger King also had a collaboration in the works with DaBaby during that time, but they ended up dropping him for the partnership after the controversy.
Damn, he messed up all his money. All his money. Now, was that worth it? Was that worth it? What was that for? He had a bad moment, but why would you say that on stage though? And then double down. Now, see, when you double down on it, that's when you messed up. And then if you look, you realize he still hasn't apologized yet. He's losing stuff. He still hasn't apologized yet. You're doubling down, tripling down. Burger King's out. You're losing all these deals.
As stated by DaBaby himself.
I don't even know if I'm supposed to speak on this, but whatever. I have my own meal at Burger King. A lot of people don't know that it was called the Jonathan Kirk meal. They wanted to use my name.
Several radio stations, particularly in larger markets, reduced or completely stopped playing DaBaby's music. In addition, some major streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple.
Yo, you know what's funny? Now that I think about it, there was he did disappear from. We didn't hear him for a while. And that makes sense. I do have Spotify, and he was in a couple of my playlists, and then he wasn't. Wow. Man, technology today, man, they can erase you just like that. That's crazy, right? Be careful, y'all.
Apple Music, reportedly removed his songs from prominent playlists, further reducing his ability and reach in the wake of the controversy. His life at this point simply had turned upside down, and all this had happened in the span of a single week. By early August 2021, DaBaby's career was in free fall after some deep reflection.
God damn, all this shit happening in a week? God damn, boy. That's a lot.
This is when he attempted to respond with a series of statements on social media, apologizing. DaBaby was expressing his regret for his comments and acknowledged the pain his words caused and indicated that he was willing to educate himself. The shift from defiance to apology hinted at some level of emotion.
Isn't that funny? Once you mess with their money, all of a sudden they have empathy. That's how it works, man. You follow the money. You get to the money, you'll find whatever you're looking for. Whatever you're looking for.
Of emotional processing as he came to terms with the widespread condemnation he faced. Social media moves so fast that people want to demolish you before you even have the opportunity to grow, educate, and learn from your mistakes. As a man who has had to make his own way from very difficult circumstances, having people I know publicly working against me, knowing that what I needed was education on these topics and guidance, has been challenging, DaBaby said. I appreciate the many people who came to me with kindness, who reached out to me privately to offer wisdom, education, and resources. That's what I needed, and it was received. I want to apologize to the LGBTQ plus community for the hurtful and triggering comments. Again, I apologize for my misinformed comments about HIV/AIDS, and I know education on this is important. Love to all. God bless DaBaby. And despite this public apology, many felt that it came too.
Here's the thing. This is why you have a good publicist. And if he had a good publicist, when he made that statement on stage, his publicist would have took care of it right then and there. It would have been a full rollout. I'm in therapy. The apologies and all that, because they would have understood what his value was. There's a reason why he had all these shows at these festivals. These festivals are huge. They're huge in all those communities. The thing about these festivals is everybody go out and have a good time. It's not just one type of person there. And we all have friends in that community. Even though we don't partake, we still have fun together. We still hang out. We still go watch these, we all enjoy the music, and everybody could be in the same place and have fun together and enjoy each other without having to be on top of each other. Like I said, I still try to figure out what those words were for and why he said them. If it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me, because he knows how the industry is, and there's a lot of that in the industry. And I'm sure I don't think he understood the backlash this was going to cause. I don't think he understood that. He got so big so fast, because he blew up fast, and he's rubbing elbows with some of the higher of highs, but he hasn't realized he's not one of them. So he thought he can come in and play chess, but they was playing Paigal.
Too late. Advocacy groups, including GLAAD, invited DaBaby to engage in meaningful conversations about the issues he had addressed in his remarks, but his public sentiment remained largely negative. DaBaby's apology was met with skepticism, with critics questioning the sincerity of his change of heart. Some people, including artists and fans, began to accept the apology, but the broader backlash had already reshaped the public perception of DaBaby. The controversy now defined his image, and it was unclear whether he could fully recover from it. His streaming numbers took a hit, and his music overall took a noticeable dip in popularity. The overall media narrative surrounding DaBaby was no longer about his talent or his chart success. It was about the controversy and his fallout. The long-term consequences of the Rolling Loud controversy were significant. Throughout late 2021 and into 2022, DaBaby has struggled to regain the level of success he had previously accumulated. Although he continued to release music, none of his singles or projects matched the heights of his earlier work. His songs, once guaranteed hits, failed to make the same impact on the charts, and his mainstream appeal appeared to be waning. DaBaby's live performances also took a hit. Several reports emerged of canceled shows due to low ticket sales, a stark contrast.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't tell you the last time I heard a new DaBaby song. Tell me, what's the last Baby song you heard down in the comments? What's the last song that you heard that he released? Because he's kind of like just vanished, you know, but he's right there. Unless you follow him, I guess, on social media. I don't. If you do, let me know what that's like. I did see some TikTok videos and stuff that he made of the repo man come and get the car and he's the repo man. It was pretty funny. But
To the packed venues he had headlined just months prior. This marked a major shift in his trajectory. Once a festival headliner and sought-after performer, DaBaby was now facing a significant decline in demand.
listen, I don't think some of y'all understand what it's like to be a festival headliner. That is big money. Like, when those people love you, you're going to be basically international. You're heading towards international stuff. Once you get into that's a different type of people. They move different in that area. There's nothing but genuine people in that area. There's nothing but peaceful, open-minded people. They just free of all the BS. So quite obviously he didn't read that room very well.
And by 2023, the effects of the controversy were still evident. While DaBaby retained a loyal core fan base, his mainstream success had clearly taken a hit. Collaborations with other major artists became less frequent, and his ability to draw larger audiences to shows diminished. Although DaBaby remained and still remains active in the music industry, the Rolling Loud incident continued to cast a shadow over his career, with some wondering if he could ever fully recover from the backlash. DaBaby's fall from grace was one of the most dramatic in recent hip-hop history. In just a matter of weeks,
He'll never recover. Never. Not musically. He'd go into something else. But musically, they're done with him. But he can still make a lot of money in the industry. Make a lot of money.
the rapper went from dominating the charts and headlining festivals, to his music losing popularity, to being shunned by the music industry and facing a massive public wave of backlash. His comments at Rolling Loud in
Stop. I'm sorry for stopping so much, but do you feel bad that the music industry shunned him for what he did? Do any of y'all feel bad for that? If you do, let me know. Let me know how y'all feel down there.
2021 triggered a chain reaction of events that would fundamentally alter his career trajectory. Aside from the Rolling Loud comments, which severely affected his money and reputation in the ways we discussed, DaBaby also had some other moments that didn't really help his case, one of them being his sudden decline in album sales. In April of 2020, DaBaby released Blame It On Baby, his biggest album to date, which dropped at the height of his success. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling 124,000 equivalent album units in its first week. This included streaming figures, with the album generating 158 million on-demand streams, which were phenomenal numbers. The album's strong sales were boosted by the success of its lead single, Rockstar, featuring Roddy Ricch, which was one of the biggest songs of 2020, and it helped drive the album's commercial performance overall.
That was a huge
Fast
song.
forward 2 years later, in September 2022, DaBaby released Baby on Baby 2, the sequel to his breakout 2019 album, Baby on Baby. The album was expected to bring him back to chart success, but it underperformed significantly compared to his previous projects. Baby on Baby 2 debuted at a lowly number 34 on the Billboard 200, selling only around 17,000 units in its first week, an enormous drop from his earlier work. In comparison to his 2020 album, Blame It On Baby, which, like we stated, had debuted with 124,000 units in its first week. And this was a huge shift in the downward performance of his commercial success. DaBaby was someone who had the entire...
That's a huge drop off. That's huge drop off. And it's the same streaming platforms. It's not like one was CDs and the next one was streams. No, these was all streams that he had. Wow, that's a huge drop off. And it shows you he thought he was bigger than the machine. But that's a big machine, kid.
entire industry in a chokehold for a good 2 years. His music was everywhere and he was on top numbers wise, and now he couldn't even sell over 20K first week. Earlier that year, he also dropped another project titled Better Than You, which was a joint project with rapper NBA Youngboy. That project sold merely 30K in first week sales. In the same month as his underwhelming album sales in September 2022, DaBaby also started seeing a shift in his ticket sales. He had a concert scheduled that month in New Orleans that was canceled due to extremely low ticket sales. The concert, which was set to take place at the Smoothie King Center, a venue that holds around 14,000 people, had sold fewer than 500 tickets leading up to the
Wow, that is a huge fall off. You see the big venue he was playing when this video started, when he was at the festival in front of a massive, you can't even tell where the people ended. It just went and went till he can't sell 500 tickets. 500, and you was popping junk about your core fans. What happened? What happened to your core fans that you was talking about? They left too, huh? Man, you just gonna have to be the baby. The baby.
to the event. This low turnout was particularly striking given that DaBaby had previously been a top headliner at festivals just a year or two earlier, and he was able to pull big crowds of people. But that sadly changed. The promoters for the event eventually canceled the show, and the decision was attributed to unforeseen circumstances. However, sources reported that the real reason for the cancellation was the underwhelming ticket sales, which wouldn't be too far-fetched considering the situation he was in. The New Orleans incident highlighted the dramatic fall in DaBaby's popularity following the controversy surrounding his rolling loud comments and other public incidents. Despite his earlier ability to pack large venues, the drop in ticket sales reflected the diminished demand for his live performances. This event further contributed to the narrative that DaBaby's career had taken a steep downturn since the height of his success in 2020. Now, the album sales weren't the only thing that contributed to this fall. We do also have his violent and aggressive behavior. Now, this is something that actually fueled his popularity in a lot of ways. DaBaby was, after all, a rapper in hip-hop, and rappers sadly tend to be praised for their dysfunctional behavior in the genre. It was no different for Jonathan Kirk. Even though his behavior helped him gain popularity in the beginning, it did in the end contribute to the narrative that DaBaby was delivering more actual hits than musical hits. Let's go over some of those incidents, starting with the Walmart shooting. In November 2018, DaBaby was involved in a deadly shooting at a Walmart in Huntersville, North Carolina. The incident began when DaBaby, whose real name is Jonathan Kirk, was shopping with his then girlfriend and their children. An altercation broke out between DaBaby and two men, leading to a physical confrontation. According to reports, the situation escalated quickly and DaBaby shot 19-year-old Jalen Craig. DaBaby claimed self-defense, stating that Craig and his friend were attempting to rob him and that he feared for his life. Video footage of the incident later surfaced. Though it did not capture the entire encounter, the court decided that DaBaby was in fact defending himself. He was initially charged with carrying a concealed weapon, but not with the shooting itself, as authorities accepted his claim.
Damn, I think I remember that happening. That's pretty sad, though. Leave me in the comments what really happened with that. What do y'all remember about that incident? Did he really get robbed, or was it a little different? I do remember it happening vaguely, but not too much.
Of self-defense. He was sentenced to a year of unsupervised probation for the weapons charge. While the legal consequences were minimal, the shooting attracted significant media attention, with many questioning the circumstances surrounding it. After DaBaby blew up in the mainstream, this was one of the main stories he was involved in that highlighted his aggressive behavior, adding to the list of controversies that have affected his public image. We also have the brutal beatdown in the LV store in 2019. In 2019, DaBaby was involved in an altercation at a Louis Vuitton store in Charlotte, North Carolina, with a local rapper named Cam Coldheart. The incident was caught on video and widely shared on social media. The footage showed a confrontation between DaBaby and Cam Coldheart, during which Coldheart repeatedly taunted DaBaby. Moments later, well, DaBaby beat Cam Coldheart in the LV store so badly he left him with no pants on the floor.
Punk Cam Coldheart. Punk Cam Coldheart. I'm the truth, nigga. Knock them out. Me. Dolo.
This beatdown, for better or worse, boosted his street credibility and aligned DaBaby with the tough, aggressive persona that often appeals to rap audiences. The incident reinforced.
Hey, man, if you mess around enough, you're going to find out, right? So he was the one in there taunting him. So yeah, whatever comes out of that, that's on you, bro.
Forced his reputation as someone who could handle confrontation, which is quality that we all know can elevate a rapper's image in a genre where toughness and authenticity are often prized. The next violent altercation involving DaBaby after the LV store incident occurred in March 2020 was when he slapped a female fan at a concert in Tampa, Florida. The incident happened as DaBaby was making his way through a crowd to the stage. A woman in the audience got too close with her phone, using the flash in his face. In response, DaBaby slapped the woman with all of his manpower. This incident sparked significant outrage, with fans and critics condemning his actions. He later issued an apology, claiming he did not know it was a woman due to the flash and stating that
What? Like, even if that was a dude, like, the person didn't even lay hands on you, gonna smack them? They're supposed to be your fans, your core fans that's out here supporting you, and you smacking them? Could you feel that privilege? Like, really, bro? Really? What are we doing, kid? Like, you smacks, like,
that his reaction was reflexive. Despite his apology, the incident added to his growing reputation for violent behavior and sparked further controversy surrounding his public persona. The violence continued, and in 2020, there was another incident that occurred in Miami where DaBaby and his crew allegedly attacked a concert promoter. It happened in January 2020, and the altercation was reportedly over a payment dispute. The promoter, who filed a $6 million lawsuit, claimed that DaBaby and his associates had beaten and robbed him. In addition to failing to show for an event he paid him $20,000 to host. He also claimed that DaBaby and his crew stole his phone, money, and debit card. In the end, he won the lawsuit as the court deemed this case as a celebrity cash grab. Now, the violence, sadly enough, didn't stop here, and in February 2022, DaBaby got into a physical altercation with Brandon Bills, the brother of singer Danny Lay, his then girlfriend, at a bowling alley in Los Angeles. Video footage of the incident shows DaBaby and his entourage attacking Bills on the slippery bowling lane, with punches being thrown and Bills eventually being knocked down. This fight, which stemmed from the public fallout between DaBaby and Danny, was caught on camera and quickly went viral, adding to DaBaby's ongoing string of public altercations. The next violent encounter after DaBaby's February 2022 altercation with Brandon Bills at the bowling alley occurred in April 2022. DaBaby was involved in a shooting incident at his property in Troutman, North Carolina. According to reports, DaBaby shot a man who had trespassed on his property. The man sustained non-life-threatening injuries and was treated at a hospital. DaBaby admitted to being the one who pulled the trigger, and authorities confirmed that he acted in self-defense as the trespasser had entered his property unlawfully. The shooting incident did not lead to charges for DaBaby, as it was considered a case of protecting his home. This incident further fueled DaBaby's reputation for being
hey man, you gotta protect your home, right? If you get shot at somebody's property, then what are you doing there? What are you doing there? So that ain't on him. That's a man protecting his home, protecting his house. You're at wrong.
involved in violent encounters, though this time it was largely seen as justified under self-defense laws. The next one after this actually happened with his own artist, Wisdom, backstage at the Spring Jam 2022 concert in Columbia, South Carolina. Video footage captured DaBaby unexpectedly swinging at Wisdom, who was signed to DaBaby's billion-dollar baby entertainment label at the time. The two exchanged punches before being quickly separated by security. While the cause of the altercation remains unclear, the incident added to DaBaby's growing list of public confrontations and controversies, and this one caused a lot of negative press for him because it specifically involved someone he had signed to his record label. Despite the fight, neither DaBaby nor Wisdom faced legal action following this incident. Aside from just the violence, he was also in another viral story during his time, which involved him forcing a kiss on a woman. In April 2022, DaBaby faced backlash after a video surfaced showing him attempting to kiss a female fan outside a hotel. In the video, DaBaby is seen leaning in to kiss the fan, but she pulls away, rejecting his advances. Despite her clear refusal, DaBaby tries to kiss her again. The incident was captured by someone in the crowd, and the video quickly went viral on social media. As you can clearly see, DaBaby's career was full of PR disasters way before the Rolling Loud incident. This is one of the many reasons why his name started to lose power during the height of his success. Everything he did was clouded with continuous controversy, and I think people, even his own fans, just had enough of it. On top of this, a lot of people felt like he also wasn't improving music-wise, the biggest criticism being regarding his flow. DaBaby does have a pretty one-sided flow, which is ironically the same flow that made him popping. As for how DaBaby handled his sudden decline in fame, fame and popularity, his approach overall was a mix of resistance, regret, and him coming to terms with the situation he was in. Following the fallout from his Rolling Loud comments and multiple controversies, DaBaby, like we showed, had a lot of tone-deaf responses. He doubled down on social media after facing backlash, often dismissing critics and refusing to acknowledge the severity of the public's response. This didn't last for long, however, as the consequences of his actions became more apparent. Being dropped from major festivals, losing brand partnerships, and seeing a decline in music sales, reality eventually hit him in the face. He issued more formal apologies, particularly addressing the LGBTQ+ community and those hurt by his comments. These apologies were viewed as him trying to control the damage that was done to his career. Although DaBaby during this time did remain active musically, his music just didn't have the same commercial success as his earlier work. His album sales and streaming numbers saw noticeable drops, which reflected his diminished mainstream appeal. He's also faced struggles with live performances, such as the widely reported New Orleans concert in 2022, where fewer than 500 tickets were sold. Overall, DaBaby attempts to recapture his level of popularity and fame was eventually met with silence. He lost the support of the general public, radio stations, streaming services, and the big budget his record label once dumped on him. So the industry support he was used to having vanished right in front of his eyes. His career, once defined by hit singles and viral moments, is now more characterized by attempts to rebuild his public persona and navigate the fallout from his very problematic behavior. While DaBaby remains active in the industry, his falloff serves as a reminder of how quickly things can change in the world of hip-hop and stardom. Anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you.
That'd be a lesson right there. That should be a lesson right there to everybody. You know, when I watched a video like this and you look at DaBaby's career, his quick rise, his quick fall, because he stepped on toes. But do you see how many incidents he had before that altercation on stage? They were putting up with all what he was doing because he was selling records. People loved him, so they were covering up whatever he was doing. A lot of things he was doing wasn't nice, you know, and you see what the industry will cover up if they can make money off you. But once he said what he said, and he had plenty of opportunities to take it back, but once they saw he was doubling, tripling down on it, they took everything back, and that's when he wanted to sympathize. But at that point, it was too late. Baby was done. When was the last time you heard a Baby song? DaBaby. When was the last time you heard one of his songs? Are you still listening to him? Do you even really care? I don't really. You know, I used to listen to a lot of the stuff, but you know, what he said was pretty egregious. And you know what? He got what he deserved. I can't really defend that. But let me know how you guys feel down in the comments. I really want to know. Like and subscribe if you feel like. If not, check me in the next video.